a number of documented times. So imagine this, two guys are on their feet, they're in a striking range. They're on their feet. One opponent would jump up in the air, form a 12-6 elbow with his opponent in the top of the head a number of times. I don't know how many times. I could throw in 100 times. That's a lot, could you even imagine? And the guy died. 12-6 elbow strike into the soft part of the top of his head, the guy died. Now in MMA, it is banned to do anything on that mohawk. Anything. Mohawk, for any of you that don't, you know what a mohawk is? The haircut? Okay, the person's head is off limits. For good scientific reason. Soft spots and some other stuff. So I just don't know when you would use the 12-6 elbow where it could ever be good. You're going to strike a guy into the face. Somewhere. You're going to ram that right into his teeth and just knock out his teeth? That's part of the sport. I guess I can't be too much of a prude about it, but that sure doesn't sound great. It doesn't sound like we should change the rules so that somebody can take out somebody's teeth. You want to drop that into their eye? So I agree with Daniel on that. I just thought I'd bring that up for you guys. That isn't a conversation that's going to go anywhere, but every now and then we do see some things and some rule change meetings that all of a sudden hit us a blind spot. We go, what? That was a conversation. I didn't even know that was a conversation. So before that conversation grows and anybody adds any fuel to the fire to make the 12-6 legal. You know, John Jones had lost a fight. He lost to Matt Hamill. And he dropped 12-6 elbows. And a number of people had thought, in fact, Errol Hawani had even reported. He goes, yeah, that's the night. We should have all learned our lesson and changed that rule. But no, that's not true. Those elbows by John Jones, regardless of how people want to rewrite the history of that match, were absolutely illegal and should be. They should be. They were illegal for multiple reasons. John was not just illegal to land those strikes, he was also illegal for where those strikes landed, which was the mohawk. So anybody that references that specific fight in conjunction with our evidence to make a rule change is wrong not only once, they're wrong twice. John could have taken the 12-6 away and just used a fist, it's illegal. You could take the fist away and use a forearm, it's illegal. He could take the arm away completely and drop a knee on him, it's illegal. Take the knee away completely and run his shin, it's illegal. You can't hit a guy in that part of his head, let alone with the technique. I offer that to you just because I continually hear this conversation from, and I'm not sure where it's coming from. It's illegal, it's a bad rule. The fact that they banned it is ridiculous for the reasons that they banned it. I fully drink to that. Raise my glass. The fact that it's banned is good.
Jose was talking about you on Joe Rogan's podcast about a fight. Some crazy fight you were in. Yeah. Do you know about this? You were in one where I told you I've been in fights. Let me hear this. I haven't seen this.
I was invited. I was like, hopefully we get along and have a fucking dope conversation.
We got along. It was fun.
Dude, I have massive respect. You know, Brian's a crazy motherfucker. I tell stories. You know, that whole school down there was a fun. I wanted to tell this story about Brian because he.
Brian Cal?
Yeah. Fucking. He's hilarious.
He's hilarious.
So, this guy's accent tells me he beats people pretty hard.
Tony Ortiz is one of the senior students of Master Sharp. We'll call him Chuck, but he's with the government now. He's a fucking bad motherfucker. So they always used to go around and want to fight bouncers and all this shit. That was what they did.
This fucking guy is hard.
They would fucking fight the biggest, scariest looking motherfuckers.
But you know what? I got level 10 Blades of Mercy.
So Blue worked. I said his name, sorry. With Chromax, and we took him out, security, with us in case we had problems or whatever. So it was like, everything always went smooth. So one time, I used to work at all the underground hip-hop clubs in New York. So my friend was doing a party, and it was all fucking deep Brooklyn heads, fucking like homeboys and shit, like the real deal, this hip-hop. And I take Brian, another dude from the school, and Tony. And we go over there, and Brian is in the middle of the fucking dance floor doing the funky fucking white boy nerd dance, and all these fucking, and the floor just opens up, and these fucking black fucking hip hop crazy fucking homeboys are like,
yeah, I'm going to.
White
I'm gonna
boy,
stay in it to win it.
He don't give a fuck. He's seriously like a fucking pisser to roll with. So then I'm like, yo, I gotta go, but listen, man, I know what y'all motherfuckers do. Don't start no shit. Please, it's my friend's club. So I get home, go to sleep, wake up the next day, I get a fucking phone call. Yo, like, he didn't know that they were with me. He's like, yo, there was these 3 fucking karate experts in the club last night, and they beat up all my fucking bouncers, dude.
No.
Fucking crazy, like. And one bouncer walked up and started some shit with Tony was trying to talk to a girl or whatever. And then, like, you know, this guy's all on the juice, rips off his shirt like, fucking Tony throws a kick, fucking dislocates the guy's fucking kneecap. And then
First move, the knee.
the melee just ensued, and it was just constant. These fucking huge bouncers coming at him, and Brian's like, fucking, Brian could fight. Brian is, you know...
Look at those stats, boy.
he's a
50
comedian,
skill.
but he could throw down. And then Brian just told me this, because I didn't hear the other part. He goes, yeah. Then all of a sudden, I'm fucking whacking these dudes, and we're fighting these guys, and then this fucking gigantic motherfucker, like, I was just like a little fucking baby in his arms, lifts me up and carries me out the fucking door and throws me across this car. And I look, and I turn around, and I'm ready to go, and then Brian says, and I look, and it's this fucking crazy white dude with a fucking scar from one end of his face down his throat, and he points at Brian and goes, don't even think about it. And like, Brian was like, yo, well, my friend called me up the next day, he's like, these motherfuckers, and I call him up, and I'm like, Brian, the fuck did you do, man? I told you guys to fucking keep chill. He's like, yo, these bouncers, you know, it was, he's a character. Like I said, I was at his first comedy show ever.
He lived a wilder life in his young days.
Yeah.
I met him after all that stuff. I met him when he was more calm. I met him in the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were in big Master Choi.
Anyway, I wish I was crazier. That makes me sound like a tough guy, which I never was. But I did get it. I did. That story is funny because what really was going on is we were at the club, we were kind of drinking, and I never looked for fights. I never, you know. But when you're young and you're flirting with your own mortality and you're training, and this is before jiu-jitsu, and I got wrestled, and I was obsessed with taekwondo.
You don't want to only hit tennis balls against the wall. You want to play a match.
What I always say for me, being the pussy that I am, but at least I did try to knock each other out. Taekwondo, like when you're like in tournaments, you people get knocked out. You get knocked out. You do kick people, and you do. And my teacher was a boxer, so I was practicing mitts and stuff like that.
I got to green belt.
Well, yeah, but so I was obsessed with it, and I tried to be the guy I'm not, which is be a real fighter.
Right.
But in this particular case, we were there, and these fucking 2 dudes. I'm with my buddy, and I'm just there trying to pick up girls. And this fucking guy rips his shirt off. And I remember going, that's the best body I've ever seen. He wasn't even the bouncer. He was just this big, huge, muscular guy. And then my buddy is standing in front of him, and this fight kind of breaks out over here, this kind of shoving match. And he looks at my buddy, and he pushes my buddy. And so my buddy just goes, bop, 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 and like just catches him. And then the guy next to him, he pulled his shirt off. And he had the best, again, I remember going, that guy has such a good body. And he came at me, you know. And then he wasn't a fighter, you know, and I was doing that.
Yeah.
But I was so jealous of how big and muscular and handsome he was. And it added to my insecurity and my, you know, anyway. And so when I hit him, instead of fighting back, he grabbed his face.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't what I thought it would be.
You don't get much in the face.
But the guy, the truth, to forget all that stuff, what really happened to me was, as I'm fighting this guy and then this other guy, it became a melee. I got grabbed by a giant man who started running me out, and my buddy, who's a slick fucker, he goes, get him out of here, because he was going to get thrown out, but he was pretending to help the guy and throw me out. He goes, he's a fucking asshole, I saw him hitting him, let's go, no, I'm helping him, because they were going to try to throw him out. So he ran out with him, as he's yelling at me, pretending, yeah, you piece of shit, get him out. And the guy took me, I never forgot this, this is not an exaggeration, from the door, I remember he threw me. And I went, oh, I'm telling you this. This is not, I flew over the sidewalk and onto the car. I landed.
Yeah.
For real. Like, think about that. How big is a New York sidewalk? He threw
6
me.
feet, 7
I
feet.
don't know what it is. But I remember going through the air, and I landed on the hood of the car. And I turned around. I was in a frenzy, and I was like, and I did. I saw this giant dude. I already had this scar, and he was older. He was probably, 38, and with but a man,
Yeah.
and a bear, and there was nothing. I might.
Oh my God.
No good here.
You get in the stand.
You're high school wrestling time. You're 155 or whatever I was. I would have gotten fucking. And I did. He said, "Don't think about it." And in that moment, I went. I sobered up and I went. I'm not mad anymore.
Bigness is fascinating.
Yeah, that kind of bigness. The bodybuilding stuff to me, when you spend your time, enough time, even now with boxing and stuff, if I see some giant muscle guy, all muscular, who really spends time on it, I'm gonna fight that guy. The guy I'm not gonna fight is the athlete. The guy I'm afraid of is the young dude who's got his ears, or he's got a neck. I look at thighs, neck, and hands.
The neck is a real picture. Like, I'm going to punch him in the head, and his head's not going to go anywhere.
And also, by the way,
calves,
be afraid of everybody.
big calves.
Yeah.
Dude, thighs are big. If a guy's got a big ass, you're going to lose.
Or he's just a dude. There are plenty of guys who look like nothing who will change your whole life.
They're the ones.
By the way, John Joseph, that's the real deal. Like, he's real. See, I'm not. I love that he says I'm crazy and I'm fat.
Fighting is so fascinating.
I wasn't.
Fighting,
I grew up
eating.
money with a family. I was a pussy. Boarding school. I wasn't. Pussy. That guy, that's the guy in the Lower East Side who used to meet me at Houseman Street because he had to walk me to his house on Ludlow. Because that's how the Lower East Side, he grew up with no family. He grew up, they called him Mighty Whitey in jail, went to Spofford.
Wow.
John grew up harder than anybody I knew. And John, in 1985, 1986, 1987, when none of you were born, in the Lower East Side, when the expression was A, you're adventurous, you go to Avenue, B, you're bold, C, you're crazy, and D, you're dead. John lived down there. And I met people through John, from Hell's Angels to you name it, everybody respected John. And everybody knew what John was getting.
Yeah.
John was real. And John had the true street cred. Like that accent and all that, he grew up for real. John had tattoos on his body in 1987. You didn't know anybody who had tattoos. John was covered in, John would shred it, built like a brick shit house, and would wear overalls only. And walk down the street on the Lower East Side and was a vegetarian, was a Hare Krishna at 13, because that's all he had. So John is a man with tremendous character, and I love him. That's one of the best people I know.
People who know they have the ability to quickly.
Well, he didn't have a choice. So there's a difference between guys who train and guys like that who really grew up on the street.
Yeah.
Really squatted in buildings. Really had no family.
Yeah.
Really had. Here's what I wanted to say this about him because it's important. I saw John when John had no money. John would never take money. Like you could never lend John money. I don't give a fuck how broke he was. I remember one time it was in the wintertime and John had no money, no money at all. And I said, "What are you gonna do?" And he goes, "I'll figure it out." And there was a guy who John saw it was too cold, and John had $5, and John needed that $5. He really did, and he gave it to the guy. And then John gave him his coat. That's for real.
Yeah.
And John gave him his coat in the wintertime. Because John didn't want to see, because he knew
parry this guy.
And John didn't want to see him cold. I've seen that motherfucker give when it really counted. I've never done that in my life. So I've never given when it really hurt. I give to money and I give to people, but I never give. I don't know who I am I don't know who I am in those situations.
You've never given a thing you didn't know you were going to be able to get back.
Yeah, but I get it back. No, I've never given anything that cost me.
Yeah.
I've never been in that position. I don't know who I am. He knows who he is.
People that I find are people that have been to prison and her up really, really hard. They actually are some of the most empathetic people you'll ever meet in your entire life. They'll listen to the whole story, like, well, he's in jail. Well, why?
Yeah.
Well, what happened? They want to know it all because they know a lot of people that have put in situations out of their control and got caught up.
Yeah.
You can get caught up.
Yeah.
There are certain instances that are your fault. And what are you going to do when you have no other choices? All of us like to look down on people that steal, but if you have nothing and no choices, you're going to fucking do whatever you have to do.
Yeah.
What's up? What for me? I'm about to get paid, bitch. 50 G's for the knockout win. Face down, ass up. Another one. Another one. Shut the fuck up, you little dirty. Say it again, let me hear. Look at my easy money sitting over there. Too much, partner. You got too much. Turn it up, turn it up.
Now, how did you two end up in the same hotel, or I'm sorry, not hotel, the same restaurant at the same time in LA? What's that? What happened there?
That was at the hotel. That was at the hotel where they put all the guys for the presser. So I seen him. He same thing, just kept on walking, and then eventually I saw him across the bar, and then he kind of caught my eye. I can't remember what happened.
Oh shit.
And before you know it, I started filming and just get paid for knocking him out. I mean, I got the easiest fight out of all of them. I am mad. I already established my distance with my arm with his chest, and he's already running forward with his chin up. Just that already tells me how he's gonna approach this fight. You see me, I come through, collected, boom, put my fist in his chest. So he's one of those guys who's gonna do the exact same thing and fall on his own sword, or my sword actually.
Absolutely, that's something I'm interested in. Vince knows what does money and what does numbers now, and I do numbers. So if he wants me to come over there and make WWE great again, then I will be willing to do that.
Okay, so what did you speak to Vince?
No, I didn't get a chance to speak to Vince, but I talked a lot with Paul Heyman, and I'm sure he's putting the bug in Vince's ear, and we're gonna get something done in the future. He definitely needs to control his emotions. I would say that's a good piece of the puzzle, but that's what helped him become so successful also. But it's not it's fuel, it's fire. Use it to cook your meal or burn down your house. It's up to you. Right now it's burning down his house. I told his coach in the cage, his boxing coach, thinks his Uncle Ray, I told him 2 things that I feel Cody should work on. So hopefully they can work on that and he can improve and get better. But if not, what habit that he has ingrained is going to take a long time to fix, that's for sure. So I suggest, my professional opinion, that Cody takes some time off and rewires some things. But what he has to rewire is something that's deeply ingrained in his skill set, so it's going to take a while.
So you think that there are 2 glaring holes in this game right now that need to be addressed?
There's actually a couple. It's a couple things that if he was under my guidance that he wouldn't be doing right now. I guess it depends on how long he'd be under my guidance, but there's a couple things that I feel he should work on, but I won't give those out here now. I won't give them to him, period, I guess, but I gave them to his uncle a couple times.
Okay, can you give us one? One of the two?
Keep your finger hands up, right?
Right. Okay, that's a big problem.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that's?
But even if it has his hands up, TJ will blast right through that too. So I guess the best opinion would be don't fight TJ. But if you are, have your hands up and don't stand in front of him.
He believes that when he comes back, whenever that is, that he's going to be another level above what he already was back then, which, if you're looking back at what he showed then, was another level above what he was before. But my question to you is, like, how, it's not that I don't believe it. I'm perfectly willing to believe it. It's that, how do you maintain that kind of growth in the absence of competition?
He absolutely needs to have long periods of breaks. Like, there was a long layoff to the first DC fight. There was a long layoff to the OSP fight. There was a long layoff to the DC2 match.
Oh, fuck.
This is a game where guys are paying too high of a price in training camps and sparring leading up to fights. So but you're right, like the lack of competition can also be a hindrance at times. So he's a special champion. He has a very special mindset, and he'll get in there and I believe reclaim everything that he ever had and more. I told him the other day that I think greatness and his legacy continue to await us. Like when I'm there, I think there's still a lot of growth possible. John's in his 30s now. I think he's really starting to develop the one strike knockout power. We saw that in the last DC fight. Before that, John was like a breaking down finish where guys were never just out cold unconscious. I think now John's really developing a lot of power for 205, and he's going to really start to that's I think the goal right now when he returns would be to claim back the light heavyweight crown.
Blatantly great.
All sorts of news in MMA in the last couple of days. Let's start at the beginning. So first off, the Cejudo DJ Johnson, which for me is a no-brainer. For me, you just got to redo it. But Cejudo came out and he said, nah, I don't want to do the rematch. And then he had a great line. He said, this division needs new storylines. And the reason that was a great line, I don't think it trumps the need for a rematch. I don't think it trumps the idea that, hey, Johnson gave you 2 tries and now you owe him a try. You guys are one apiece. Let's put this to rest. I don't think it trumps that, but he is making an accurate statement, isn't he? We do need new storylines there. I think that's only half of a thought. I think the other thought, the other side of that would simply be, well, what are they? What is coming up? Who's coming up? Is there some heat somewhere? Is there some drama somewhere? Is there somebody that is making the argument? Whether it's a good one or a strong one, are they even making the argument?
Oh.
The next shot more than Demetrius Johnson. It'd be a hard argument to win, but is anybody even making it as far as the storylines go? So I really like what Cejudo said. I thought it was a fresh new idea. It's needed for divisions, but I don't know what the answer is. So until I have the answer, I think I'm going to have to stay stuck on Demetrius Cejudo. But I thought that was interesting. And then, TJ weighed in too. TJ Dillashaw weighed in on Cejudo. And TJ's a very interesting speaker because he's not a trash talker as much as he will just say things very matter-of-fact-like that are then going to insult somebody. But they weren't designed for that. I like when TJ does an interview. By example, he just did one about Cejudo. And he said he wasn't interested in the fight. And the way he sees the fight, he said, I'll run right through you. And I know that could appear as trash talk, but it wasn't. That was just TJ just sharing how he felt from the heart, which I think is what some of the things that make TJ a fun entertainer. And then we had my favorite piece of news. And my favorite piece of news was that Kamaru Usman has been signed to weigh in on the Dallas card, September 9th, main event Woodley versus Till. Usman is now under contract to weigh in. He'll be compensated for that. But if anything happens between now and the first punch being thrown, Usman steps in. I think that that's really interesting. I don't know that you could have gone to a better guy in that division, right? And that's with Colby's out. We understand that. Colby's not going to fight that date. I don't think you could go to a better guy. And I do feel that Usman has greatly been overlooked for a while. I think that time is done. The fact that now he could be stepping into a world title fight, he could win. He could win the world title. Okay, he's that good. So I think those days are done, which makes me happy because he is a guy that's earned it. He took the long road, took the long path, but now he's here and potentially really here. He could potentially step in. I can just tell you, for me as a fan.
Oh my God, this is just unbearable.
What's more fun than watching a fight if you're a fight fan? Speculating about a fight. Man, you got these two guys fighting. Oh my God, Till's had problems making weight. What if Usman steps in? Who's Tyron going to choose? Then it'd be Tyron's choice. Is he going to go through with the Till fight, but the title's not on the line, or is he going to say, no, you didn't make weight, bring in Usman? I don't know. Tyron might like the wrestling of Usman more than he likes the awkward striking of Till. It just gives you something to talk about. And it's true. And it inserts Usman in the conversation, and we'll see what he does with it. If he plays his cards right, he will use this as a springboard and make sure that he...
We also won't make this go viral on the internet. We also won't see you on SportsCenter tonight. But fair enough, we know where you stand.
Yeah, it's one of those things when you call a guy out, even if it's a guy you're not going to get, normally that guy has to respond, so that pushes it one step forward. And then you could respond to him, and it may work or it may not work. Yep. But I mean, Ally Quinta, everyone always talks about because he fucking goes on Twitter and just blasts people, so they kind of have to respond.
It gets people interested.
It gets people interested, and people have to be interested to buy tickets.
He's great. Ally Quinta gets a bad rap. Ally Quinta, he is awesome!
I love Ally Quinta.
And he is a prick, that's true. And he is mad, that's true. And he does have a chip on his shoulder, that's true. That's awesome. Let's turn that up. Let's not turn him away. Let's turn that guy up. I love his personality.
And when they asked him to fight Khabib, he stepped in on 1 day's notice. He was been training with Paul Felder, who's a fucking brawler. And even though he lost to Khabib, I mean, he stepped up, and other guys turned that fight down.
But that's what Shane was talking about. You're a fighter. Be ready to fight whoever, whenever, right?
Yeah.
So, do you look at the Fedor fight that you have coming up and go like, okay, I really don't need to shit on Fedor, number one, because I legitimately respect him, but number two, this is a big enough fight with two big enough names that I don't have to convince you as to why you should be interested in this.
I do believe that we're going to do really great business that night, right? I do believe that the place is going to be sold out. We're going to set record numbers. Scott Coker says it's the biggest fight in UFC history. Other people are saying it's the biggest fight of 2018. I appreciate that, and that flatters me. My job is something else, which is to go in there and fight him, but it is very hard to come out and get a banter going with him. I don't not like Fedor. I don't like Fedor. I don't know Fedor. But neither does anybody else. And that does annoy me a little bit. It does annoy me that he's on his way here from Russia right now to do media, to which he's not going to do. He's going to have an interpreter that looks like Snow White talking about Dumpy Dwarf, who is him, but he came from a different time. Some of those same problems I had with Anderson Silva or that Chuck Liddell's going to go through. And first off, that fight with Chuck and Tito's not going to happen. Second off, if it happens, which it's not, if it happens, nobody's going to watch it. The reason is Chuck is from a different time. He used to be when the punches and kicks were enough. The UFC was doing 5 and 6 shows a year. Bellator didn't even exist. Scott Coker hadn't stepped into the space yet. If you could see two guys locked in a cage together, that was enough. But we are now living in the entertainment era.
Wow.
Jesus fucking Christ. 33 shows a year in a 52-week calendar year by the UFC. Scott Coker's putting on 23 shows a year, which in a 52-week calendar year means twice a month. the punches and kicks are not enough. And we've still got commentators that are locked in the 1990s that won't help a guy. They'll turn on the business before they'll help the business. They don't understand what we're doing.
That's a good point. It's very competitive, and now it's like, why would I watch this fight if two people don't give a shit about it? And this is for casual fans. When I could watch a guy who's at least got me interested in just talking all week.
How do the commentators not help the business?
We'll have commentators that will go out when guys are fighting, and they will disclose to the audience, well, he's only here because he talked a bunch of trash. It's like, first off, that's what we're doing. Okay, and I find it very ironic that a commentator whose only job is to talk, who's never had to get out his biscuit and get in there and risk it, but is making more money than anybody else who actually has. I find that very off-putting. And secondly, just operate within the confines of the truth. Okay, look at Colby Covington. Truth. Last time he stayed at a fighter hotel, he got in a street altercation with former heavyweight champion Fabricio Verdun, where criminal charges were pressed. Colby Covington has to go everywhere with security in an armored vehicle and is to stay in a private location because of the death threats made against him. Just tell the truth. All of those things are true, and the promoter's writing a check for a reason. And it isn't actually because he thinks somebody's going to get in a street altercation with the baddest dude in the world, who's Colby Covington. He's doing it hoping that somebody's got the intelligence God gave geese to come out on a microphone and tell the story to the world because it's captivating. But you still got these commentators that want to talk about the setup behind a jab followed by the right cross to the leg kick. Shut up, man. It's not what we're doing. That was in the 90s. Now we're in the entertainment era.
And you think that they're not servicing the entertainment part of it as much, and the fact that these guys are out here, you know, you're putting your life out there and you're talking a lot, and then they're not going to address that at all. They're just going to talk about
they're not selling
fights, at all.
Right?
They're talking about the pure mechanics of it.
Yeah, they don't understand it. They don't understand that the times have changed. And they will again. We're not going to be in the entertainment era forever.
Right.
We're going to go back, and then there's going to be your mega fights, and there's going to be your fights that follow the straight and hard, right? To, you know, we just saw Cormier versus Stipe. That was an amazing event. You had two world champions locked together from two different weight classes, two guys with integrity, with no problems, pillars of their community. Those things only come along every so often. The rest of the time, we're here to entertain. The integrity is preserved when you lock the cage door. It's not professional wrestling where the guys are working the spots out together, deciding who goes over. But that's it. For right now, it will change yet again. But when you've got commentators that are stuck in the 90s that don't want to help the business and they want to go pick up a paycheck at the end of the night, they got to change too.
Boy, oh boy.
I was actually factual.
Right?
He's not.
So why would Jim Norton and Sam Roberts?
My name's still there.
It's there, but it's not the headline.
It's not the headline.
Not the headliner.
It's buried somewhere.
You did pass on him, but so what?
Kevin Hart. What's going on?
What's up, buddy? How
up, Jim?
How you doing, man?
How you doing, man?
I'm very well. I sent you a text. I didn't hear back, so you probably didn't get it. I read.
Oh, he got it.
The majority of your book. I read.
Did you like it?
I'm not even being polite. It's one of the best biographies I've ever read.
Thank you, man.
Fucking amazing.
Thank you, man.
I blew through 150 pages on the way to Europe. I couldn't stop reading your book.
Thank you, man.
I know you a long time, and there's so much stuff about you I didn't know.
That's a lot of. Well, first of all, the reason for writing the book was for that. You know, I think there's a lot of levels to, and I hate to go third person, to the individual of Kevin Hart. You know, and I think what I want to do is share information that can be valuable to people in their journey, you know, or their road to success in whatever it is that you're doing. I think information is key. And so many people hate to share information. So many people are selfish with information. I think my road is a road of hardship. You know, it's a lot of bullshit that I went through to get to where I am today.
A lot of violence you saw. I didn't know you saw that kind of violence growing up.
Yeah. My dad was a cookie, man. He was a character. He really was. Yeah, he did a lot. So
you saw your father was bleeding from being hacked up with an axe.
My dad got hit in the head with an axe. When I went over his house to go see him, which my mom hated to do because her fear was we don't know what happens over there. And one of the times when she was like, "Fine, go," my dad got in a fight. The guy hit my dad in the head with an axe. He came back with a towel. Towel was fully blood. Like there's no white left in the towel.
That had a logical explanation. That was refrigerator repairman beef, right?
It was that's
what happens in that
The other refrigerator repair guy was jealous because I was better, and he hit me with the axe.
Do you think that's the real reason, though?
No, of course not. No, absolutely not. But back then, when you're a kid, it makes sense. Oh, God, Dad, well, you got to stop being so good at refrigerator.
He just wanted to take the opportunity to give himself a pat on the back.
It was that. And literally, like, I mean, between seeing my dad get jumped, me and my brother saw my dad get jumped, and before it happened, he was like, y'all go home. I'm about to whoop these guys' ass. And like, he clearly knew that it was going to go the other way.
Do you think he whipped their asses?
No, he came back, and the results were obvious of what happened.
He got a beating.
He didn't even acknowledge it. He's like, y'all hungry? He's like, what? Look at you, man. You all right?
Does that scare you when you see your father? Because your father is like such a strong figure in your life. And does it scare you when you see a strong figure like that be beaten up?
It's a different level of reality as a child. Like, your dad is a hero. You know, there's nothing that your dad can't do. If your dad say he can do it, as a kid, you believe it. If I say, hey, y'all want to see me jump on this roof? Yeah. All right, watch, everybody back up. Whether I do it or not, my kids are the only people out there that's like, Dad's going to do it. Yeah. They have nothing but belief that you can do what you say you can do. So when you start to see the guy that you saw that was invincible in your mind, when you start to see those layers get peeled away, it does have an effect. You know, it is like, damn, like, Dad is not who we thought Dad was.
Not a superhero. He lies and steals.
Yeah, it's a lot of shit in here.
Yeah.
You just thought your dad was this amazing refrigerator repairman who beat everybody up, and you're like, no, he's not.
No, he's not. No, he does drugs. Dad does drugs and steals refrigerators. It's the complete opposite.
My favorite part about the beginning, it seemed like your childhood was very confusing, because like a lot of the stories, as I'm reading them, I feel like I kind of know where they're going to go, and then they just go in a completely opposite direction. Yeah. Like when your dad's driving you to school, and he goes, you know, son, you're going to be okay. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be one of those sweet stories. And he goes, because, you know, we all got long dicks.
That is a true piece of advice that my dad gave me. Like, I was just like you. I was waiting for the gym. I was waiting for the piece of life that my dad was about to drop on me. And he's like, you got a big dick. I got a big dick. Your brother got a big dick, so you gotta have a big dick. So we gonna be okay.
I wish my father gave me advice like that. I heard that Kevin's dick fucking way back in Keith Robinson. It was Keith said his dick got thrown out of the room when Kevin showed up.
So his dad was right. He did grow into it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. That's a piece of Kevin hardcore that's true. It really annoys me.
That's very true.
It really annoys me.
That's very true.
I will just say that there's one time at the Comedy Cellar that he showed it to a waitress who requested it, and she came up, oh my God! Oh my God! It really is true, and that was
and then that confusing moment comes back, and you're like, Dad's right. I'm gonna be okay.
I'm gonna be okay.
I'm gonna be all right.
I didn't know what he meant by it back then, but here's where that helps you at. Your confidence is always at a high level because you know something that people don't know.
Yes, you are very confident, and people look at you like you shouldn't be, but you are extremely, long before fame, long before money, you're a confident guy.
I was always confident.
And your mother, too, like, I understand a lot more about you after reading this, because you really are a hard worker. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're always doing something, you're always motivated, you're not asking anybody to do anything and make it happen for you, you're doing it. And then I see how you were raised with your mom, and how she kind of didn't let you do anything and had activities. Oh, now that kind of makes sense. You must really.
My mom was strict. My mom was very strict, but she was strict simply because she saw the mistakes that she made with my brother. She was more lenient with my brother. My brother was able to go out and come and go as he pleased. You know, there was a curfew, it was late. And that's when my brother was in the street. My brother sold drugs. My brother was stealing at one point, you know, snatching purses and robbing people at gunpoint. He got caught up into a bad life as well. So with me, it was, no, you're not doing anything. You're not going anywhere. You're not going to leave my sight. I'm going to put you in an extracurricular activity that takes up all your time. That's why swimming came about. It was,
oh, right, yeah, you swam for years.
I swam from the age like 8 or 9 until the end of high school. So I never had free time. I didn't have room for error, and that's what she made sure of. She didn't want me on the streets at all. She didn't want me to become a product of my environment. She didn't want me to grow up like my dad. I mean, that was tough on her because ultimately you grow a little bit of hate, you grow some resentment as like, yo, you don't let me do nothing. Like, and why don't you let me see dad? And she got tired of hearing that. So I remember the biggest lesson she told me was, you know, she was like, you know what, you want to see your dad? You want to go live with your dad? Because I kept saying I'm going to run away. I'm going to go live with dad. I don't want to be here no more. You know, you get to that age as a boy. You want freedom, puberty done kicked in. I'm tired of you treating me like I'm a boy. I'm a man. Damn it. You know, I'm 16. It's right. Time for me to hold my own in these streets. She's like, you want to live with your dad? Then you know what? Go. All right, fine. I can go. Go. Get your stuff. Go. I will. Dad, Mom said I can come live with you. Come on. You know, my dad, he don't ask no questions. Come on.
He didn't do any checking.
No checking. Didn't want to know where my school was. Didn't want to know if I had an extracurricular activity, anything that I needed to know about. Didn't ask none of that. Come on. I get to my dad's house. This is a true story. My dad had about 7 or 8 people living in this place. I didn't know any of them. There was no electricity. They had a plug, and it was like a cord that was hooked up and ran from like an abandoned house. There was still electricity. So the electricity came from somewhere else. There was no hot water, and to take a bath, there was no like tub. They made me like put water in a basin, and he was like, put the water in the basin and heat it up next to the kerosene heater, and then use the basin to wash up. And it was like just the worst living condition that I've seen. Now, granted, for my dad and the people there, that environment was comfortable. That's all they knew. But I was like, wait, where's the tub? Where's my bed? You know, I was on a couch, and there was other people around the couch, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Was it at least neat and well kept in the area?
No, not at all. And I remember calling my mom that same night, and I was like, you gotta come get me. She was like, the hell I do. You want to live with your dad? Live with your dad. And I was like, well, I don't want to live with dad anymore. I didn't know that dad was living like this. No, you know everything. What I'm doing is wrong. So if that's what you want, then that's what you go and get. She made me stay there tonight. And that was like one of the toughest nights. And I had nothing but love for my dad, but it was just tough because I'm like, who are these people? And look at where I'm at. Like, I'm on a couch. I'm not even comfortable. And my mom came to get me the next day, and it was basically, if you're going to live under my roof, you're going to live up my roof. Okay? Stop battling me. Stop thinking that I'm doing what's wrong for you, but I'm thinking I'm doing what's right. And she never down-talked my dad, never made me feel like my dad was an enemy or like he was doing these wrong things. She's always bigged my father up because he was my father, but she allowed me to see things on my own as I got older.
Did you ever resent him? Like, did you ever get mad? Because there's some stories about your dad in the book that are really kind of staggering.
Yeah. I never resented my dad. That's a tough word. Never. I don't have any level of hate. You know, of course there was disappointment. There was high levels of damn, I thought dad was coming to pick us up today. Or damn, man, I ain't seen dad in I don't know how long. He's not picking the phone. He's not answering the calls. You know, there's a level of what's going on with dad. It was never a thing where it was like, my dad did shit. I don't have that in me. I never have. And my mom never talked like that to help ignite a flame that would put that in me. So when he went through his problems, he went through them on his own until my brother felt that I was old enough to handle the information. He told me, dad's on drugs. It is what it is. You know, we can't help him until he wants to help himself. And my dad had resentment and a grudge because my dad stole from him. You know, my brother was building his barber shop, and he brought all the equipment. He wanted my dad to do the electrical work.
Just to kind of help your dad get back on his feet.
Help him get on his feet, put some money in his pocket. And then my dad was doing the job for a minute, and then we come back one day, everything was gone. My dad stole everything. And that's my brother didn't, like, it went black for my brother. So it took me talk to my brother to get my brother to forgive so we can finally get my dad help.
So you look at all this stuff and people who think like, oh, Kevin just kind of came in. You didn't have it easy coming up. No. You didn't have it. No. You didn't get handed a deal when you came into the business. I mean, you were in the business for quite a while before anything happened.
A long time, man. I mean, I got 19 years, almost 20 years in the business.
So what gave you that patience? Because like you said, around you, it was a lot of culture, quick money. Your dad stealing, your brother selling drugs. Like you saw people not being patient about it. Like, no, I'm 16, I'm a man, I can go, I can sell drugs, I can steal, I can do this, I can get money right now and be the man. And that doesn't really match up with, you know, driving to New York to do comedy.
Yeah, well, you know, you see the consequences of it firsthand. You know, I saw my dad in and out of jail. You know, I saw my dad being addicted to drugs. I saw my brother sell drugs. I saw my mom find drugs and beat the shit out of my brother. And my brother was forced with an ultimatum of jail or the army. Like, pick one. And he chose the army, of course. I saw literally no high reward from the negative route. I saw that. I saw it firsthand. So when it was time to make decisions, the one person that I saw with any type of consistency was my mom. You know, it's not that my mom was rich or not that my mom was successful and financially stable on a high level. My mom did what she had to do to make sure that we were taken care of. And, you know, those lifestyles were not cheap. Granted, where we lived, the cost of living wasn't crazy. So when I say not cheap, I'm saying I was on a swim team. It was very expensive. We had to travel. We had to those hotels. There were bus rides. There were, you know, carpools. There was different levels of fees that come up. You know, it's a traveling national swim team.
And she's doing all this to keep you out of the streets and to keep you from getting fucked up outside the house.
All of it was done on my side. All of it was done.
I laughed out loud reading when you were talking about stupid Keith, and you said he told you your name. Were you Lil Kev at that point?
Lil Kev the Bastard.
Lil Kev the Bastard. You told the first thing he tells you is that your name is awful, and you pointed out how he had the worst voice you'd ever heard.
Hey, your name is awful, stupid.
Yeah,
the worst tone behind a human voice that I've ever heard. Like, I've never heard anybody talk like that. I thought it was a joke. He's got to be joking. He's got a voice box, and this is a trick.
You reminded me too, man, of how cruel Lucian was from the comedy, from the comic strip. You know, he's dead now, so we don't like to speak ill of the dead. But I don't like the guy. I don't think he was a good guy. I think there was an honesty to him, but there was an unnecessary level of cruelty to people. He liked being mean to comedians. He liked being fucking cutting and vicious under the guise of being honest.
I mean, that's the first guy that hit me with honestly, that was my first rip shot. You know, I think we all take body blows in the entertainment business. There's always something that happens that makes you go, oh, like, damn. Like, there's moments where you got to take the knee. Lucian was the first person to put me down to where I had to take a knee. He was basically, he told me that I needed to find something else to do. You know, it was that blunt. I got off stage. I had a great set. You know, granted, my material wasn't great material. I'm new, green. But I had a great set. The crowd enjoyed me. And I thought that I was going to the back to talk to him about coming to the comedy strip and doing spots. And instead, it was just, I don't see it. I don't see this being your craft. You know, I think that you should definitely look into doing something else because this isn't it. This isn't for you. And that's the first time that I heard that. But I had a guy like Keith that I was so close to that I told him. And I'm expecting Keith to be like, damn, Lucian said that. It's something. And Keith was like, fuck Lucian. So what? Come on, stupid. Let's go down to the cellar and get something to eat. And I was like, eat? I can't eat. At a time like this, my life is over. Shut up, stupid. Get in the car and we'll go to other comedy clubs. Fuck Lucian. Like, it was so nonchalant and going off his back. And when I saw that, I was still affected by it, but I was like, man, I don't know how exactly like this is no big deal. This is me. This is my career. This is a big deal. Then we get down to the cellar, and everybody there is just, so what? Whatever. And we all were so vicious to each other. And we all were so mean to each other. But what we really did was prepare each other for the word no that can come at any possible time. We made each other comfortable with the fact that we were okay. We're going to be okay.
And it's also like the guys, like we would attack each other and it's all hack court. But you only did that with guys you liked and respected and guys you genuinely thought were fun. It was like nobody took a guy who was really a bad comedian and just sat in there and attacked. It would feel like attacking an audience member.
Yeah.
So the guys that we took the hack court, like we all dropped bits. No one.
Yeah.
It was like that court.
Finally.
Attacking an audience member.
Yeah.
So the guys that we took the hack court, like we all dropped bits. No one ever wanted hack court.
Oh no, I gotta fuck with this stupid
It was like that court in Batman.
nightmare
when you can
asshole.
Like, get killed, or you have to walk in the across the fucking frozen river.
Those
You're
were your
gonna die
options.
anyway. Like,
It's never gonna be like, you know what? That was actually a good joke. We're incorrect.
Never. You were never coming out of head court.
Right. No.
You were never coming out with people going, no, guys, that's a good bit. I remember arguing y'all down about the midget bit. I had a midget.
The midget robber?
Yes, the midget robber. And I thought that this bit was one of the best bits ever. It was a bit about how I got robbed by a midget. It was a cross-eyed midget. And I didn't know he was looking at me. He was robbing me because he was cross-eyed.
Right.
And instead of using the gun, he chose the headbutt. Now, granted, now this is saying it out loud today. I get where they were coming from.
You see the error of your ways now. Yes.
I see the error of the ways, but back then, there's no way that you can tell me that me saying because the person was cross-eyed and I didn't know who he was robbing. That was the more genius in the midst. I was like, how was my punchline was, how was I supposed to know you was robbing me when you was looking at him? Come on, man.
There it is. Yeah. It did get laughs too.
When I tell you, they beat this joke up so bad. I just remember Patrice O'Neal, he kept making me repeat. So who's here? Because I'm at court, so I don't realize.
You have to testify in your own defense.
So he was like, so let me ask you again, little dummy. Patrice called me little dummy. Who was robbing you again? I kept going, the midget. He's like, right. Back up to the beginning. Who has the gun? And I was like, the midget. I just kept making me say the midget. And every time I would say it, he would act like he was jotting something down. And he's like, this is why this joke stinks. And he was like, it's not funny. I was like, what about the cross-eyed? Like, I fought this joke so bad. But I love that they were so vicious, man. I have nothing but respect for Norton, Voss, Patrice, Colin, Keith, Burr. I mean, that table of people that we put together, man, that sat and just joked and cut. That made me so strong with the BS that I eventually dealt with in LA. It rolled off my back. I didn't care.
And it makes you more honest too, because you're so used to being called out and calling people out. And when some man,
those impressions might not make it, huh, guys?
Did you say that at the audition?
At the audition, when I got done Avery Johnson, I was like, no Avery Johnson fans?
How was your De Niro? Do you still do De Niro in the act?
My De Niro was horrible then. It's still horrible now. Just screwing up my face. I don't even say a line that De Niro did from the movie. I just, that's it. It was one of the
How about
worst.
Denzel? Was your Denzel any good?
No, it was fresh off. Okay. That's it, guys.
That's good. It's really good.
I remember Lauren just eating popcorn, going, He just kept saying, And I was like, y'all want to hear some stand-up? It was just the worst.
Did you know you were bombing?
I knew I was bombing in the impressions. I killed the stand-up.
Oh, you did?
When I got to the impressions, that's when it all went
The
south.
characters were going south.
That's what it all. When I got to the part where you had to show why you should be on the show,
sure,
that's where I was on. Yeah, the stand-up, which had nothing to do with SNL.
I'm a comedian.
Yeah, but I cannot do impressions, guys, so I don't think I'm gonna fit in here at all.
What was the show too? This is something I remember when you got the show. I didn't know this part of it happened. Like, there's so much shit I didn't know. You get this show and they're ready. It's on ABC. What was the name of that show that was about where they brought you to New York to announce it?
The Big House.
That was the Big House.
The Big House. People don't even know this story, man. I got at a young age. I think it was 24, maybe. I think it was about 24. This is when I had a deal. Montreal did well, got a deal, nothing happened. And I said, you know what? I said, what I should do is develop my own show. What if I had an idea for a show? I told my manager, Dave Becky. He's like, oh man, that would be cool. This is the idea. And I pitched him the idea. I wanted to do the reverse of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So basically, it's a guy who's coming from money. Something happened with his parents, and he's forced to go back and live with his other side of the family who's not doing well. This is how I wanted to do a spin on my life, right? About where I came from. but I just wanted to have a reason to get there. Pitch the show gets picked up. Oh my God, my life is about to change. I'm about to be rich. I made it. This is crazy. I got my own show. I'm executive producing. I'm a writer on it. I'm starring in it. They picked up 12 episodes. This is unbelievable. Okay, Kevin, you gotta go to the upfronts. This is a big deal. What's the upfronts? Tell me what it is. Well, that's where we take the talent and then go to New York, and there's this big thing where they announce the show in front of people, and you got to take pictures. It's like the best thing ever. Oh my God, do I get a suit? Get a suit. What about the rest of the cast? Well, they only want you there. No, that can't be, because I'm not doing the show by myself. You know what? The cast got to come. They're not going to fly the rest of the cast there. Then I'm going to take my money and do it. You know, I don't have a crazy amount of money, but I can afford to fly them. This show don't happen without them. Right. I'm flying the whole cast in. The whole cast in. Put them in a hotel myself. Up one day. Walk out the hotel. Pictures. Non-stop. I'm a star.
Was that your first experience with that?
First experience with that. I'm a star, man. As I'm walking on the carpet, everybody, Kevin, hey, Kevin Hart, hey, the big house. Taking pictures. The most unbelievable feeling ever. I get there, they're like, all right, Kevin, we got about 7 minutes. Let's get you backstage. You backstage, they wire me, put the mic on me. I'm about to basically walk on stage and we're going to announce who's new for this fall season, the big house. Right before I'm about to take a step, there's a guy in front of me. He's just talking in his headset. This is what I hear verbatim. I got it. He's right here. Yeah. Okay. And then what? Okay. No, I'm looking at it. Okay. Do it right now. We'll send the other one so I know so they can go. Okay. All right. Kevin, you're not going up. I said, sorry. What do you mean? No, we're not using you're not going up on this one. Something's going on, but I think they're pulling the show. I don't know, but it sounds like they're pulling the show. I'm sorry. This is crazy. What? I'm so confused. What? Just step back. You gotta step back. Okay, bring him up. I see another show. 5 people. They're just rushing these people to the stage. The host goes, and the McKinneys, whatever the show.
Kelly's or something.
It was. I forgot the actor. He was short. There's only 3 short guys. It was a short white guy. He had a show. It was coming on. So they were recreating CGI. They bring him up. He was about me. They're high-fiving. They're excited. Dave is running. I see Dave running back. He's sweating. I don't know where he ran from. Sweating. He's like, buddy, don't panic. I don't know what this is. I've never seen anything like this in business. This has never happened. I'm going to get to the bottom of this right now. Okay? Don't worry about it. I'm like, what's going on? Right now, they're trying to pull some shit. They're trying to say you're canceled. Okay? And I'm like, what? I've never, what do you mean? I'm canceled. I know. It's crazy. We're going to get to the bottom of it. Just know I'm on it. Me and Dave go to the back. He said, let's get out of here. Let's go to the hotel. He's on the phone. Everybody's talking to. He's like, I know. It's canceled. They basically canceled the show. Nobody from the network came to talk to me. Nobody confronted me. Nobody said anything. I said, what about the cast? I put the cast out. Dave's like, I'm trying to figure it out. They're saying that they don't want to fly her back, maybe fly him out. I'm like, what the fuck? Oh my God. So I gotta tell the cast. So I have a meeting with the cast about how I flew everybody out, how the show's not getting picked up, it's canceled. I'm sorry guys, I'm gonna try to find out what I can. I'll book you guys flights so we can get out of here. They're down, they're distraught. I said enjoy the rooms, just, in the morning, you guys enjoy the plane.
Yeah, baby.
Dave goes, do you want to go home? I can have them change your flight so you can leave. I know that this is tough. I said, I'm not going anywhere. I said, this is my first time I've experienced anything like this. I'm going to parties. I'm going to every party. Like, I'm going to have a good time. I went to every single party. Everybody looked at me like I was crazy.
They all knew what happened.
All knew what happened. It spread like wildfire. And it was like, he's got to be on drugs or something. Like, how can he be having a good time? Everybody's just constantly checking on me. You okay? We heard what happened. I'm like, I'm fine. It is what it is. That's life. Hopefully I'll get the next one. I was prepared for that punch in the stomach because I was already taking so many punches in the stomach.
Right.
So this was a big punch in the stomach, but I had so many that I shoulder shrugged it. I'm going to be all right. I'll be back. I was actually telling that to people, to execs, to studio heads. I'm good. I'll be back. That's just the first time, man. It's the first of many. I was so positive that everybody was mind blown. That when things finally turned around, and I did come back because they ended up picking the show up later that year, and they picked us up for like 6 episodes. Everybody was so happy at the opportunity. They were rooting. Go, Kevin. We're so glad that it finally worked out. We're so glad. 6 episodes, show got canceled again. I was okay. All right, fine. I guess I got to figure out a way to create another show. I'll be all right. But those same studio execs are still in the business today. So the respect and admiration that they have for me for taking it the way that I did has played a major part in the opportunities that I get today because my person was never in question.
You talk about that, like, in the book a couple of times. Even when you're a kid, you say you have this ability to take these shitty things that happen and just brush them off. Like, you talk about that, we were talking about the resentment. Like, all this stuff, you don't carry negative stuff with you. And all I can think is, do you worry that you're carrying it, it's all buried,
I don't.
and that at some point it's all going to explode?
It would have exploded already. It would have came out. If that was the case, it would have been came out. I mean, what would I be waiting for? You know, I lost my mother. I mean, I dealt with the craziest stuff that I could deal with from my dad.
How's he doing, by the way?
My dad's sober now.
Oh, is he really?
He's fine.
Oh, good.
Sober. Living in the house. Brought my dad a house, car. He's fine.
Good.
He's
got a tub?
Living. He's got a tub. Heat. You know, I mean, if you really look back at the things that I've overcome, it would have come out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, at this point, I know why I'm able to shoulder shrug things. And people got choices. I hate that people act like they don't have a choice. You know, you got a choice in any and everything you do. Here's one thing that I'll say to your listeners, and when I say it, just think about it. Do you know how much energy and time it takes to be angry? Do you know how much time it takes to hold a grudge? To really muster up the energy to hold on to a grudge. I don't like you. Every time I see you, I gotta let you know I don't like you. I don't like you. That's energy.
Right.
That's
Feels
energy
bad.
that I'm throwing all this stuff. I'm throwing all this stuff your way. And that's energy that I could use to go into something else. Like when I think about my time, I think about my energy. I think about my efforts. How much time and energy do I really have? And how much do I want to put into stuff that's not going to affect me on a day-to-day basis?
It's just negative, just nonsense.
Nonsense. I mean, I don't have the time for it. That's why the negativity that I have received, I respond with kindness. I get hate all the time.
I'm always amazed at comedians, by the way, who it's like a couple of comics like have said shit. It's like, for what?
Yeah.
Like, you work. Mm-hmm. Like, I understand there's certain comics that other comedians don't like, but you're not one of them. And I'm like, guys who are jealous. Like, one guy was bashing you, calling, he's all social media, and this guy has over 1 million Twitter followers. It's like, you're not exactly anonymous, dude. What the fuck are you doing?
It's a thing where you have to understand that some people just don't know how to genuinely be happy for a person's success. I know how to be happy for me. I'm not in competition with anybody. I'm not in competition with nobody. I'm in competition with myself. I'm constantly trying to evolve. I'm constantly putting in the work to progress and build up a catalog that can be looked at as Kevin Hart's legacy. I'm getting ready to do another tour so I can have another hour special. I said, well, how many specials do I want? I said, George Carlin did 10. That's amazing to me. That man had 10 specials. I said, man, if I can get close to 10 and have a catalog of comedy that's on par with George Carlin did, that'd be an amazing tap out, man. Because that man did some amazing stuff, and I'm a student, so I've seen it. I've watched it. Kev, what do you want your legacy to be? I'm trying to build something for me. It's not about what other people think. It's not about what other people have to say. Ultimately, everybody's going to have an opinion. That's where we live in.
And you're not competing. We have to wrap up and tell this because you're both press. But Kevin, you're not in competition. It's not like it's one spot for one comedian.
No.
There's a million fucking. Netflix is doing 52 specials this year. One a week.
Unreal.
I mean, it's 50 spots.
And you can also tell that Kevin's being legit, because I think the people who have that attitude are people that you find end up hanging out with people that are even more successful than they are, because that's who they relate to, that's who they're learning from. And so when you see you hanging out with Jay-Z, hanging out with The Rock, it's like, because you're not a hanger-on, you're not jealous of these people.
You surround yourself with people that I think can motivate and inspire you to go above and beyond.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about the relationships that I have, man. I mean, look, ultimately, I can say this, people, but I'm telling this story because I want people to take this information and apply it to themselves. Not to say that my story should be your story. It's just to say that the will and want to win and to be successful comes from within you. And you're going to hear no a lot. But when you finally hear that word yes, it's going to be so worth it. It's going to make you understand that you can hear it so much more and go above and beyond in creating opportunities for yourself to create your goals. It's not an easy road.
It's amazing, and I'll give you a couple of the book signings Kevin's doing. There will be a line, so just get there early. Tonight, Barnes & Noble in Union Square at 7 o'clock. Then Wednesday, if you're from Philly, the Free Library. Thursday, he's going to be in Washington, D.C. And I'm guessing on your Twitter and your website we'll have all of these dates. But he's got Miami Friday, Saturday Houston, Sunday Minneapolis, and The Grove Monday the 12th at Barnes & Noble in Los Angeles. And having read 90% of this book in like a very short period of time, it really is great. I'm happy for
Thank you, man.
And reading it, I didn't know what to expect. I figured it would be decent, but it was fucking really great, man.
It's great.
It's funny. There's so much stuff I didn't know about you. And it's interesting to see where you come from because it explains everything. And a lot of violence. And it's a great book. I mean, a tremendous book, so congratulations.
It means a lot to me, Jim. Nothing but love from me. I'm happy. I love seeing this, too.
Me too.
I love seeing, no. This is good.
Yeah. It's great.